Hello, I'm DeDe, and I'm here in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. In this section, we'll be doing some yoga on the floor, so this will be a gentle stretch. Here's what you'll need: a yoga mat, or if you're on carpet, you can just be on the carpet. Feel free to take off your shoes and socks. It's also important to have some water for hydration, which you can sip at any point. You can have some before, during, and after. It's important to stay hydrated. Remember to always move at your own perfect, mindful pace. And that means you're paying attention to how things feel as you're doing them. That's the best way to know if you're doing the right amount of them, overdoing, or maybe not doing enough. So pay attention. Be mindful. We're going to start out on our back. So make your way onto your back now in a way that you can still see me. Drop down onto your elbows on the way down, and then slowly lower yourself onto your back. Now at first you may want to bring your knees into your chest, holding onto your legs and gently rocking just a few degrees from one side to the other. And that helps your back feel more relaxed. All right, and then we'll come back to center. Take your feet down, move your feet a little wider, turn your toes in a little bit, and let your knees rest against one another. If you feel like you need a little bit of a pillow under your head, then take a moment and grab a folded towel or a flat cushion and place that underneath your head. Here's what you might find helpful if you feel that way. Maybe if you just bring your shoulders a little flatter to the mat and relax your arms, maybe that will put your neck in just the right position. As I said, add something under your head if you need it. And now let's place our hands on our abdomen, and we'll breathe in and out through the nose. So we're breathing in and out through the nose in a way that's a little deeper and a little slower than our normal breathing. And the best way to do that is to start the inhale lower in your lungs and fill upward from there. And then as you exhale, just relax and let all the air go. All right, now hopefully that cultivated within you a little bit of a peaceful, relaxed feeling. And so we'll try to build on that. Let's move our knees apart and our feet back in line with our hip joints. Now take one knee into your chest, followed by the other knee. Your feet are off the ground. And using your hands and arms to do the motion, let's take our knees around in a circle. So one is going clockwise and one is going counterclockwise. And feel what's happening through your low back. At one point, it's a little bit flatter, and at another point, it's a little bit more arched, but just slightly. Now let's go the other way. Around. And around. Feel free to not look at me the whole time, because that would probably require you to turn your head 100% of the session, and we don't want to do that. All right, bring your knees back into your chest. Now, one knee goes forward while the other pulls back, and then we switch. Now, again, we're using the arms to create this motion, right? So your legs and hips, your low back, they can all be relaxed. And then we'll bring the knees back into the chest, and we'll circle the ankles around in one direction, up and around. Feel what's happening in your ankles, and your feet, and your calves. Now the other way. And then we'll relax the ankles. Now the arms come down to the sides for stability. Flex one foot and press the heel up on that leg. And then switch. So stretch, but then relax. Stretch and relax. Push your heel up as the highest point if possible. You feel that stretch in your leg? How about 2 more? 1 more. Now back to the ankle circles. Hands on your legs, circle around in one direction. And then the other direction too. All right, now let's open the knees a little bit wider and we'll rock our hips from side to side. So the shoulders are going to stay relatively flat here. All right, let's stretch our left leg out straight and we'll hold on to the back of the right knee and we'll pull it in toward the chest as we exhale. Now, contract through your core to keep everything stable around your middle. Straighten both legs. And pull the other knee in. And then switch. Pull your knee in and exhale. And when you're ready to inhale, switch. Now you're maintaining that core contraction. And again, that just means that you're stabilizing your middle. Let's add some additional arms now. Exhale, pull in. And then inhale, arms reach a little bit. Exhale, pull the knee in. Alternating legs. Can you go bigger, further with the stretch? Now what about this? Can we go a little straighter with the leg? This is one of my favorite movements because it helps us warm up so many things. It helps us limber our shoulders, our hamstrings, our hip joints, our calves, and it helps us develop better core stability and control. If this feels too intense for you, then by all means stay with the bent leg version. Stay with the smaller arm reach. But if you're okay, we have a few more. Go a little bigger if you're able. All right, let's bring both of our knees into our chest once again. Once again, open the knees up a little wider and rock from side to side. Now, earlier I was talking about not moving your shoulders as you rock, but now we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're turning all the way over onto our side. And then inhale back to the center, separate your legs, and exhale, turn the other way. So we're intentionally making it bigger, and we're turning all the way. It almost feels like a massage. Massaging your back and your hips and your shoulders against the floor, doesn't it? And then we turn all the way over onto our side and we press ourselves up with the arms. So let's come up to a sitting position. If you have any struggle sitting on the floor, try sitting up on a cushion or a folded towel. Or if you need to, sit in a chair or on your couch. That's fine. If your knees don't get close to the floor, try bringing your feet further forward. That helps. If you're sitting up a little higher, that also helps your knees to drop down lower. So in other words, Be seated, but be comfortable while you're seated. All right, and then we'll still have that great alignment with ear, shoulder, and hip all in one straight line, like we did when we were lying on the ground. Now take your arms out to the sides. Inhale. Exhale over to the side. And then when you're ready, inhale and exhale over to the other side. So right now I'm surrounded by beautiful purple, pink, and white flowers called bougainvilleas. And they're blooming everywhere. And because it's a little bit breezy here, they're also flying around everywhere. So you may see them from time to time fly through the shot. Maybe one will even land in my hair, who knows? It's kind of nice. It's almost like it's snowing flowers. So how do you feel right now as you're doing this? Can you feel what's happening through your spine? It's side bending. That's called lateral flexion. Bending side. Lengthening on one side, shortening on the other. If you do it with your breath, if you inhale and then you exhale as you bend, that helps you go a little further. Let's do one more. All right, and then we'll come back to center. Relax your shoulders. Now, if you're sitting with your legs folded, then try putting your other leg in front or on top. Now let's twist. Inhale. Exhale, look over one shoulder. One hand goes behind you, the other arm goes across. And then inhale. Exhale around. So believe it or not, even though we're changing our spinal position here into rotation, we're still sitting up straight and tall. So even though our vertebra are turning relative to the one next to it, we're still sitting up tall. So they're still stacked. Our vertebrae are still stacked one on top of the other. And that way we can twist more comfortably and more safely. And that's important. Let's do one more of these to each direction. Last time. And then we come back to center. Now we take the soles of the feet together. So if you're sitting on a chair or on a couch, as a variation of what we're doing here, you can bring your feet together this way with your knees out, just as I'm doing, but your hips will be up much higher. All right, so let's rock from hip to hip now. Rock over to your right hip and over to your left hip. If you're sitting on a chair, you may want to hold on to the back of the chair for stability. You can also put your hands on the floor for stability if you're sitting on the floor like I am. Otherwise, maybe you hold on to your ankles. Tipping from side to side. Easy does it. And one more time. Now we'll come back to the center. Lean back a little bit and lift your knees up. And then as you exhale, press your knees a little bit wider and lean forward. And we'll do that again. So we have a lot of stretch going on in what are called our adductor muscles, the muscles that draw our legs in toward our midline. This is our midline. So we want to keep those supple and functional, and we want to limber them, and that's what we're doing right now. All right, we have one more. Now let's come up to the center. I'm going to turn sideways for this, just so I have a little bit more space. Let's take the feet wide. If you're sitting in a chair or on a couch, you can still do this. It just won't feel quite the same. Still okay, though. If you're on the floor with me, though, do this. Take your feet about shoulder width distance apart. Fingertips behind you, palms behind you, fingers out, fingers forward, fingers back, whatever feels best. draw the shoulders back. Inhale. As you exhale, the knees go to one side and your head turns opposite. And then inhale, center, and exhale to the opposite side. Let's do that again. Inhale, exhale over. Now watch. Inhale, center, and then exhale, turn your whole torso around. And then we'll switch. Inhale, and exhale, turn, look over your shoulder, and then we'll do it again. Let's come back to the center, and I'll face you once again. Now we're turning all the way over to our hands and knees. Now here's what I like to do, and you might want to do this as well. I like to make a pleat in my yoga mat so I have extra padding for my knees. Now I have 3 layers underneath my knees. You might want to do that too. And then we'll come into child's pose. So you can stack your hands, rest your forehead. You can move your elbows closer to your knees and sit back further if that's okay with your hips. If that's okay with your knees and your ankles. Or you can even move your knees themselves wider and take your head a little lower. Or you can bring your knees in very close together and bring your arms to your sides. So you decide which one of these works best. And then let's come up on our hands and knees. Let's bring the wrists directly underneath the shoulders. And if you need to, you can be up on your fists instead of being flat down on your palms. Your knees are underneath your hips. And let's find ourselves in a neutral or straight spine position. Inhale. On the exhale, extend your right leg back, flexing your foot, pushing out through your heel. And then inhale to come down. And exhale, straighten your left leg out behind you. And we'll do that again. Shifting the weight, pressing the leg out. Try to stay stable, balanced, and level through your pelvis. And one more on each side. So this is a wonderful core strengthener. That means we're strengthening muscles in our torso. Now come on down. Are your shoulders away from your ears? Try to maintain that. Now let's work with the arms. So maintaining your lower body's position. Inhale. As you exhale, right arm forward with the thumb up. Inhale. Left arm forward with the thumb up as you exhale. Let's keep going with this. Now I know it's tempting to shift over or to curve your spine, but we're trying to fight to keep our neutrality. So from the crown of your head through your tailbone is one straight line. And then we're adding to the straight line our arm, and now we'll add our leg too. So let's go arm with opposite leg. Inhale as you come down, and exhale other side. So because we're not statues, we can't hold perfectly still. Because we're living, breathing things like a tree, we're sturdy, we're strong, but we also sway. We also move a little bit, just like a tree in the wind. We have one more. All right, and then we'll come all the way down. Now back to your child's pose, this one where we sit back. Are your knees further apart? Are your knees closer together? Are your hands stacked up high or are they down low? Are your elbows closer to your knees or further away? They're all good options. Now we're going to do next one of my strengthening favorites. It's called Cobra. So you may want to watch before you go, just because when you're in the position, it's not easy to turn your head and look. So watch one time and then you can join me. Now I appreciate putting the bony part of the front of my pelvis on my extra padding. That's on my mat right now with the folded portion. So that's where my pelvis is going to go. You might want to do that too when you join me. Now the legs are narrow and straight. The hands are next to the chest. The shoulders are away from the ears. Now the elbows are bending back toward the feet. Now watch. As we inhale, we lift the face and a little bit of the chest. And then we exhale down. That's all there is to it. So go ahead and join me here. Legs are narrow. Hands next to the chest. Elbows bend to the back. Inhale. Exhale. Now it looks like we're using our arms to lift us, but we're really not. We're using the muscles that run down the back of our body to lift us. From the back of our neck all the way, believe it or not, down toward our calves. All of those are contracting. All of those together, those muscles are called the posterior chain. And our chain of posterior or back of the body muscles are working to bring us into this cobra. Now, we'll change this to a static cobra. So, slide your elbows under your shoulders. Once you're there, let your legs rest, shoulders away from ears, and then you'll lift the chest up a little higher and keep your chin tucked in. I know the tendency here is for us to do this with our chin, but instead, pull the chin in, and we'll stay right here. Breathe deeply. All right, we're coming all the way down now. So place one hand down and reach back with the opposite hand. See if you can bend your leg on that side and grab your ankle. And if you can't grab your ankle, don't grab your ankle, just bend your knee. So a couple different options for you. If you need to stack your fist and rest your forehead, or if you need to turn your head to the side to be comfortable here, then go ahead and do that instead. Settle your shoulders down. Keep your knees narrow. And on your bent leg side, flex your foot. Let's switch legs now. Switch arms. Holding your ankle if it seems suitable. Do you feel that stretch in the front of your thigh on your bent leg side? That's what we're after. Now let's release. Take your hands next to your chest. Strong core muscles now to stay stable as you push yourself up. And then we can bring the knees back on the extra padding if that feels right for you. And then we'll sit back once again into your version of the child's pose. All right, now we're coming up you can take that extra padding out from under and then come around sitting once again. So you know the options. You're in a chair if you need to be. Bringing one leg in front of the other if you're sitting on the floor. Sitting with your knees crossed if you're sitting in a chair. And then keep your back long and straight and tip forward as far as you can. If you can come forward far enough if you're on the floor to put your hands down or your elbows down, then go ahead and do that. So we're looking for some stretch in our hip muscles, into our low back maybe. Now let's come up and we'll switch legs. And we go forward and down. Make a longer line from your tailbone out through the crown of your head if possible. And keep drawing those shoulders away from your ears. So now we'll go back to some of what we did at the very beginning, but we'll hold for a little longer. So sit up straight and tall. Inhale. As you exhale, right hand down, left arm up, and we'll stay here. Going longer and straighter with the arm this time if you're able, or just remain here. And then we're coming up, and one more time we'll switch the legs around. Inhale, exhale, come over. And straighter, maybe. And then we'll come up. Let's twist. Look over one shoulder and stay right here, turning your head as far as you can. Deep breaths in and out. And then switch. And then coming back to center. Now I invite you to stay seated comfortably, chair, ground, on your yoga mat with me, or I invite you to lie all the way down if you'd like to, on your back. In any event, we'll get comfortable, comfortably seated, and we'll take just a moment of seated relaxation. So your posture is upright if you're sitting with me. Your posture is straight and neutral if you're lying down. And then we'll find a relaxed arm position, palms up or palms down. And if you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes. And then start to turn the volume down in your head. So if you have a lot of thoughts, just start to turn the volume down so they're quieter and quieter and quieter. And now, let's let the eyes open if they were closed. And then stretch out your fingers, wiggle your toes a little bit. If you're lying on your back, turn to your side and help yourself up with your arms. So how do you feel now? Do you feel a little more limber, a little lighter maybe, a little stretched out, a little more comfortable in your body? That's my hope for you. So thank you for joining me for this session in beautiful Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. But more importantly, thank yourself for taking part in this session and doing something good just for you. I'll see you next time.